Good afternoon and welcome to the first edition of Inside the Nest for football for the 2020, now 2021 spring season. We're joined today by first-year head coach Mike McGlinchey. Coach, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Jalen. How are you?
Doing pretty well. I thought about it the other day. This is actually the first opportunity we've really gotten to sit down and talk football with you. We had every plan to during spring ball, but fell about a week short of spring ball last spring.
No doubt. It was definitely an interesting first spring campaign for the Cardinals.
Definitely. So before we get into spring ball and some of those things that we didn't get, one of the things you did get is a new staff. Pretty brand new. I have two guys returning from last year, Pat Hansen and Moses Harper. And then other than that, you got 6 or 7 new faces. Some guys with some pretty impressive resumes. Jerome Rise has been at several Division I institutions. Clarence Anderson has a very impressive playing resume himself. And then you've got some guys that you've worked with in the past. So tell us a little bit about your new staff. What were you looking for in them, and how'd you go about finding them?
Well, one, I really feel the staff is the most important thing that we can do to kind of change the culture here to a winning culture for Jewel football. And I'm very, very excited for the guys that we brought in. The resumes and things along those lines, I think that's important. But when you're building a staff, the number one thing that you're looking for are people that are going to meet your like mindset, and the vision that you're going to set for the program. And we have a strong vision for who we recruit, for regular players. And those are serious students committed to excellence and love to play football. And if you're going to recruit those type of players, you need to have coaches that meet the same type of criteria. So my criteria was a serious football coach, a guy with professional mentality. He's always trying to get better. All right. He hasn't ever thought that he's arrived. Somebody that's committed to excellence, somebody that's not going to fall into a rut. Right. And I think that's one of the main things that when you get complacent, it's easy to fall in a rut and say, hey, well, this is just who we are. And I was looking for guys that showed throughout their career, whether it was playing time when they were in college or in professional level, or throughout their coaching career that didn't fall into that rut, that were committed to being better and committing to make programs better. And then last but not least, guys that love football, because we do this a long time. 70, 80-hour weeks in the season. Recruiting's not much better. You have to put the work in, and if you don't love the game, there's going to be signs of you slipping. And so those are really the criteria that we built. I did not know all the guys that we hired. Coach Linhart, just to name one, is a guy I didn't know personally, but got a chance to compete with against a couple, for a couple years, and he really impressed me because our defense at Mines was pretty good. I think we gave up 15 points a game in 19, and I think it was 17 points the year before that. And Neil's teams always seem to score a lot more points than that. I think one time he scored 42 on me and a half. And we still got the win. So that was very impressive. So I'm very happy that he's with us on the offensive side. And then Coach Rise is a guy that I got a chance to meet at a clinic. He was working at Georgia Tech as a defensive line coach, and really impressed me about how organized he was, how detailed he was. And that's really a big key for our program is taking care of the small things, being perfect at the small things, and the big things are going to happen. So I was very happy to get him, and the rest of the staff really kind of falls in line with who will work well with those two guys, because those two guys are giving the visions for our offense and defense, and I'm giving the vision for the overall program. And I think we have a really great bunch.
Absolutely. Well, very excited to have him. We've enjoyed getting to know him and seeing him in action a little bit this fall. Kind of going back to the spring again, you started, I believe, January 30th, January 29th, something like that. And so it was about 6 weeks before we shut down. So didn't even get to spring ball recruiting, after signing day. I think the only advantage for you may have been that your family got to move from Colorado a little sooner than anticipated, which was great. But how are you feeling right now? First head coaching job, completely new staff, pandemic, seasons moved to the spring.
Great questions, and I'm still working through all those feelings. But for the first part of it, I got here January 27th. And I did get a good 6 weeks with our team and really kind of set the vision for them, and was really happy with when we were leaving to go to spring break for how far we've come. Not necessarily, any tangible results, but just buy-in. You can see the young men here really, really want to be good. And it's just about, consistently keep putting forth the effort and taking care of the details to be good. Our staff was fully in place on March 1st, so they got about 2 weeks. And we were ready to go into spring ball when everything got canceled. But the one thing that we did as a staff is we continued to meet every day. So every morning at 8:30 in the morning, we would have a staff meeting call, and depending on what we were going over that day, that would be anywhere from an hour, hour and a half to up to 3 hours. Our guys did a great job in the recruiting aspect of it. We held official visits, virtual visits, and we're able to sign 42 guys to NLIs, okay? Now, not all of them came, okay? I think we ended up with getting 40 that came to campus, and 2 of them pushed their enrollment back to January, all right? So all in all, we were able to sign a very good class. We were also able to keep them involved, all right? We were able to install an offense and defense over Zoom, the best that you can. So our coaches were still having player meetings, position meetings, staff meetings. So even though we were apart, we were getting together every day virtually for, I would say, at least 5 hours. Okay, and then we were getting with our players. We were having team meetings, study hall. Coach Moses did a great job. Coach Harper did a great job with our academic team. 3.29 team GPA for a football team is in my opinion, is very impressive. Okay, and I've worked at some really high academic schools at Princeton and at Colorado School of Mines. So the spring might not have been a normal spring, but we kept it as normal as possible. And that's kind of how we've progressed through this whole thing. All right, what are the new regulations? What do we have to abide by? All right, how can we do that and still keep as normal of a championship schedule as possible in the things that we do? And we've been pretty much right on with that, with a couple stumbles along the way. But I'm very, very excited for what we did in the spring. I'm very happy with what we're doing now. We've just gotten pushed back over and over again. And as a new head coach, I really feel like I'm probably going to be a 17-year veteran after this year's over. All right, because every time there's been a new change, I've planned the whole year out again. And in this world, things change probably every 48 hours. So I've done a lot of planning. So hopefully it comes to fruition here soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Lots of practice and practice plans.
Yeah.
So talk a little bit about the fall. You touched on it briefly. Obviously, we know your season's gotten moved to the spring, but you guys aren't just sitting around for the next 3 months. What is football doing this fall?
We're fully invested in our, what we're calling our fall program, but it's usually called our winter program. So as soon as the season got pushed to the spring, we went into a spring semester mindset with how we are going to move forward this fall. So when we got back to campus in late August, early September, we had a 2-week acclimation period where our guys were pretty much just with Coach Rozier just getting themselves back in shape. Because you got to remember, from March through July, August, nothing was open. These guys couldn't lift. They could run, do things like that, but not at the level to be a successful college football player. So we spent those 2 weeks kind of getting guys back into shape. And then we've taken over with our fall program, which is lifting 3 times a week. Our guys lift at 6, 7, and 8 in the morning. Then we have an agility competition period. So a day on Tuesdays, which we've broke our team into 12 CAP teams, Cardinal Accountability Personnel Teams. That's what CAP stands for. We installed a leader in all 12 of those because we're trying to build leaders here, leaders of men. With that, they have to make sure that their teammates are doing everything right. They're filling out their wellness reports. They're getting the lifting on time. They're lined up correctly when we get into competition periods. And then they have to push those guys, okay? And that's been going great. We're actually going to be finishing that up next week. we'll crown a champion. All right. So right now, team 3 for us, our cap team 3 is doing really well. So they pretty much have almost won the thing, and they did it not by just winning events, because we have something called detail points. So if everybody on your team does everything right for the week, you get an extra point. And that team has done everything right for the last 3 weeks, which is the entire time we've done that. And some of the teams are falling down on that point. So it really kind of shows us, who is taking it seriously, who is leading. And we're really excited for Team 3, because if they can finish their detail point this week, I don't think it's going to matter what happens next week. So we're excited about that. And then we're going to be moving into spring ball here, fall ball. All right. I'm a baseball coach. All right. So we're going to have fall ball, and it's going to start on October 12th or 13th. Most likely we're going to have practice on Tuesday, Thursdays, and Saturdays. We're going to do that for up until November 7th. And we're looking to have a, kind of a spring game there. There's still a couple rules we're going back and forth on with how practice will be structured, because most of the time we're going to be able to run practice as normal. I think there might be 1 week in there where we're going to have to, make some COVID rule changes. That would be the first week if it is. But we're progressing. They're getting ready to get a helmet on, and that'll be the first time I've seen a guy in a helmet since I've been the head coach here at William Jewell.
Definitely. I really enjoyed getting out to practice the last couple of weeks and watching some of those groups and seeing guys step up. I really love just the concept of it. So you talk a little bit about fall schedule. So let's move into the spring. Obviously, that's probably the biggest thing on a lot of people's minds is when's that schedule coming out? We know the GLVC hasn't put anything out officially. The presidents are hopefully going to decide on something in the next couple of weeks. But what can you tell us about a spring schedule?
Well, I'm a big fan of what the GLVC is proposing to do. Okay, they're going to give our seniors and everybody else's seniors in the league a real chance to win the conference if things go the way that they look like they're going to go right now. We're still, I think, 1 or 2 steps away from that coming out, but our fans can expect there to be football in the spring. All right, they can expect there to be high quality football in the spring. Starting most likely in the middle to late March, right, and going through April, with the GLVC crowning the champion at the end of it. And I really like the way that we're talking about structuring it, and I can't wait for that to be official if it is, okay. And if it's not, then we're excited here to play football, right? So whether there's a championship at the end of the rainbow or not. The guys here on the Jewell football team have made a commitment, all right, to respect the game, all right? And that's the big thing that we're doing here is we're going to respect the game. So we're going to do everything in our power to be the best that we can be at everything we do, right? And that's our goal. Our goal is not to be a champion. Ultimately, we want to be, but I feel that's the byproduct of us being the best that we can be at everything we do, right? Every day. And we have another quick saying, we're going to strive for perfection, we're going to expect to win, and we're never going to give up. All right, and we're going to do that through total commitment at the task at hand and maximum effort. And those are the 2 things that our coaching staff is going to ask from our players every day. Are you totally committed to what you're doing? Are you totally committed to writing that paper? Are you totally committed to running that route? Right? And then are you giving it everything you got? Because if you do those 2 things, we don't worry about the results, because the results will come. All right, the byproducts will be the wins, the championships, the A's in the classroom. So that's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about details and fundamental change here at Jewell. And our guys are doing a really great job of buying in and moving forward. We're not perfect yet, and we never will be. All right, that's why we're going to strive for perfection. All right, but we're definitely moving in the right direction.
Definitely. I mean, like I said, just getting out to practice, you can see a difference in the guys and the coaching staff, and we're very excited about it. For maybe potentially a fall game, amongst even an inter squad, and then moving into the spring season, we're going to have football of some kind at some point this year. We have confidence. So, Coach, I appreciate you taking just a few minutes out of what I'm sure is a very busy day for you to talk a little football.
Thank you, Jalen. Like I said, I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to be the head football coach at William Jewell College, right? And go Cardinals.
Absolutely.